Here's how you're going to use the Experian lawsuit with the CFPB to your advantage to get deletions off not only your Experian credit report, but I'm going to show you how to do it for TransUnion and Equifax as well. It's no secret that credit reporting agencies have been doing what Experian has been accused of doing for years, at least in the eyes of the consumer. Because if you are someone who sent in a dispute letter and got back a very vague and ominous verified letter where it really didn't make sense how it was verified, especially if you are someone who uses factual disputing in order to get negative, nasty information off your credit report, and you can tell that TransUnion, Experian, and Equifax each have different information being reported on your credit report for that one account. It was only a matter of time for something like this to happen. In order for you to understand how you're going to go about putting your dispute letter together in order to try to get the success that you're looking for, which is eventually getting those accounts like collections, late payments, charge-offs, repossessions, anything negative on your report that is inaccurately reporting and impacting your credit score off of your credit report, you first need to know the three laws that they broke so you can use two or all three of those laws to your advantage. The Fair Credit Reporting Act makes it so that the credit reporting agency has to ensure maximum accuracy. What this means is if you are getting data from one source, that data should be correct each and every month that that data comes to you. It's kind of like a game of telephone, except there shouldn't be a different word spoken out at the end of it. Now, on one hand, you might want to blame the data furnisher who sent the information over, but what Experian is being accused of is not performing a proper investigation, which is also a violation against the Fair Credit Reporting Act. That's going to be law number two. But did you know that there's also a law that states if the information is reinserted onto the credit report, that the credit reporting agency is supposed to notify the consumer that that information is being placed back on there. This often happens when you might use a hack you found online that did not completely get that account taken off of your credit report. But what Experian is being accused of is not having the proper systems and processes in place for when those accounts are reinserted back onto your credit report to know whether or not these are duplicated accounts just under a different account name. So, where did they go wrong? Failure to conduct a proper investigation, improper reinsertion of previously disputed and deleted accounts, and engaging in unfair practices where they didn't provide you with clear, detailed explanation as to why the results were the results of their investigation, which is a violation of the Consumer Financial Protections Act. Let's jump on the computer and I'm going to show you how you're going to go about disputing the inaccurate accounts with Experian that you have already requested an investigation for, and the response was that it was verified. And then next, I'm going to show you what you need to do for TransUnion and Equifax.
This is the CFPB official website. I am going to leave the link to the website in the description box for you to be able to access it very easily. But in order to submit a complaint, you do have to have an account. So I am going to go offline so I can go ahead and log in. And then I'm going to show you exactly how you're going to put your complaint together on the front end and then get ready to submit your actual dispute letter at the very end before we end up submitting it over to the CFPB. In order for you to have an account, you do have to actually say that you're going to submit a complaint first. A little backwards, but it's okay. We'll work with the CFPB. So once you do click submit a complaint, you're going to just start a new complaint. So if you haven't set up an account yet, you can go ahead and enter your information. But if you already submitted an account, you'll just click here in order to log back in. Now, before we get into the nitty gritty of our complaint, the CFPB is going to want to know what our complaint is about before we're able to upload our dispute letter. So our complaint is going to be about our credit reports. So we're going to click credit reporting or other personal consumer reports because yes, background checks are a version of consumer reports. It's going to then release a drop down, what type of credit reporting product, credit reporting, You'll click next. What type of problem are we having? We're going to say we have a problem with the company's investigation into an existing problem, because we do. Which best describes your problem? We're going to say that their investigation did not fix an error on your report. Have you already tried to fix this problem with the company? We are going to say yes. This method is going to work best for individuals who have already sent in a dispute letter. You could have sent that dispute letter in last week, last month, last year. If you got a response that the account was verified, you felt like you couldn't do anything else because, hey, they did their investigation. Now knowing that those investigations weren't even properly done, go ahead and get your deletions. Did you request information from the company? We are going to say yes. What information did you request? Now, this is optional, but you could say something if you feel so inclined, like, I requested details on the investigation into the errors on my credit report. Did the company provide you this information? No. Clearly, they didn't provide anybody. Now, step 3 is where we're going to have to do a little bit of editing. And the reason why is because the CFPB does not want you to place inside this nice little box any personal identifying information. They don't want your name. They don't want account numbers. They don't want your social security number. They just want to know what happened. Now, if you have access to my Wave Runner kit, and that's down in the description box as well, the letters are already formulated for you. There's a formal letter, there's an informal letter, and there's versions of the letter if you have multiple accounts that you had disputed at one point with the credit reporting agency, and they just all came back verified. But the gist of your letter that's going to go here is going to be referencing the lawsuit. The gist of our letter would sound a little like this. I came across the CFPB Experian lawsuit. I feel I was negatively impacted, hurting my chances at credit after receiving a response to my earlier dispute that the accounts were verified. Come with the receipts or be quick to delete. Period, poo. Now, you probably want to sound a lot more formal than that, but I want to give you the gist of what you would put in a situation where you are disputing with Experian. And if you're disputing with TransUnion and Equifax, it would sound very similar, but you kind of want to be like, you don't want to be next in this type of letter that you're going to send as your dispute. Fair resolution for any of the 3 credit reporting agencies, which is, please delete these accounts from my credit report as soon as possible. This is where people make the biggest mistake when they use the CFPB, or honestly, anytime they are disputing with the credit reporting agencies. And that is because they can also send you a letter that is going to feel like a stall tactic if they don't really feel like it is you who is writing into them. So you want to make sure that you are attaching your government issued ID that's valid. This would be a driver's license, a state issued ID, a passport. You want to make sure that you have proof of address just in case you have moved recently. And also, you are going to have to provide either your social security card or a W-4 that has your social security number clearly displayed so they can ensure that this is indeed you who is emailing them or writing them in case you decide you don't want to use the CFPB. Along with that letter that's down in the description, you would just attach them all here and then go on to the next step. Now, when it comes to the company that you are complaining about, I would recommend that you only complain about one company at a time. So yeah, you're going to have to submit this complaint a total of 3 times if you want better credit. Now, you're just going to type in Experian, and you're going to want to use the first company that pops up. So that would be this version of Experian. Now, although this information is optional, I do include this every single time I submit a complaint just to make it a lot easier to try not to get those annoying stall letters. See your name as it appears on your credit report. You can always go to Experian.com and create a free account to see how your name is displayed, or you can get a copy of your credit reports for free using annualcreditreport.com. And it will ask you if you want to complain about another company. Remember, we're going to say no, and we're going to file 2 more complaints after this. And then you'll hit next. I'm not going to go on to the next page because the next page is just confirmation. All the information that you added is the information that you want to include. It's all correct and you're ready to go. And you'll just end up submitting this complaint over.
I used consumer law way back when to take my 530 credit score to well above 800. Make sure you're following Passively Jazz on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok if it's still here.